All right, so we had another real tight range day yesterday. I think it was even tighter than the prior few days. We're getting the break, obviously, here in the pre-market. As we discussed yesterday, the burden's on the sellers. After the market's been this strong, volatility has come down this much, the probability is you get a break to the upside and it begins a new trend. It's not going to be this big, but certainly to the mid 290s we could see. The top from April was 295. So, you know, this area up here, let's say 293 by 295. In play now. Looks up like this, something like that. See where we are. So we were at 291 early, a couple hours ago. 291.50 looks to be the spot. See what happens right on the open. Any type of move above here, holding above, you just stay long. First move is down. We don't want to go too much below 291, but maybe like into here. I'm into here, want to see reclaim of 291 and then go from there. So those are the two possibilities, that are two probabilities. IWM, let's see, here we are here. I mean, the question people are going to be asking themselves, and I probably mentioned this a few days ago, is this going to play catch up now, right? It's still $20 from the high. SPY is set to make a new high. So we failed 53 a couple weeks ago, sold off hard from there. Again, we're gapping above 53 now. So I would say as long as we're above 152.80, I want to see if this can then we're right here to this. I think if we get a close today above 154 on IWM, the chase could really be on up back into this area. All right, MGI. So I don't know if you guys are familiar. There's this thing, it's this crypto called Ripple. They invested in MGI, which is it's just in a massive downtrend, looking like it was getting ready for bankruptcy. $1 a share. Here's the down. It's like one of the most beautiful downtrends, probably even better than Deutsche Bank's downtrend. And so that had trouble. It bounced recently. I don't know what the news was, but it bounced back up to 350. It was up there for a few days before making a new low again. So right now it's above there. I think when I zoomed in to that area, it looked like kind of 340 is where they were accumulating it. So I put 335 on the sheet as also potential support level. Kind of flushed through there a little bit in the pre-market. But if this thing holds up here and then takes that forward, it could get a little bit nutty. It normally trades 800,000. It's done 3.3. It's going to be a game of hot potato. So it'll be curious to see if this thing can actually go up another few more dollars. It might be one of those things where it goes up to $5, $6, and then by the end of the day, it comes right back down to $4. Things have been pretty wild in crypto lately, and yeah, the market's obviously got a very strong bid overall. So this potentially could just run and then have another gap up tomorrow or something like that. But you want to just focus on the price action. And basically, first move goes up, you catch a quick move above the pre-market high, then you don't really want to see it, depending on how much it bounces from there. Say it takes this out, goes to $5, $6. You don't really want to see it below 4 again the rest of the day. If it is, it could be like a one-hit wonder. You kind of see it did a lot of volume into this here, and it didn't really go anywhere. So that would concern me a little bit too. This is a lot of volume, over 1 million shares. Couldn't even get it back up to the pre-market high. Yeah, I don't know if are we short it? No, we're long.
It's 10 off the high. It's 12 off the high.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely the sport here, 335. This little band right here, but this amount of volume and not really showing signs of taking out $4 is not good on the long thesis. So many names today are really thin, 500,000 shares or less. This one normally trades 600,000, but it's such a large gap down, and I feel like it could do some good volume today. Maybe it does a few million shares. So this had run up on potential takeover speculation. I don't know if that was from here to started it right here at 48, but now it's back down at 40. You kind of see that on the long term. Yeah, it's 38. 40 is the psych level. It's got some bounce potential here, even if they're not going to get taken over. So it started from here. I don't know about it getting back to here, but maybe a bounce into 43, 44. We'll kind of see. Yeah. So, because when a company does a large secondary like that for a few hundred million, the thought process is immediately, well, no one's interested in buying them, or they're not likely to sell. So that's the thought process of why it's down. You can see people they're buying here in front. I mean, it's done 500,000 shares in the pre-market already, and it's holding this 40. So now it's trying to hold a little bit higher. They're buying at 40.70, and maybe it steps up again. They start holding it above 41. You catch something like that. TPX. So this one normally does 500,000 shares. I trade it every once in a while. We couldn't track down the date, but a while ago they announced that their mattresses were being pulled from Mattress Firm, the largest mattress chain in the country. It created some weakness, but it's been strong recently. And it's been I don't know if that was announced here or one of this down move maybe here, but it's at this major resistance area from the last couple of years. It's gapping above 70. So the way I look at it is, if like on the open there's a little bit of profit taking, but it's holding above 70, it brings these prices into play here, especially with the way the market's been acting recently. So it's done like no volume in the pre-market. It's done 20,000 shares. So we'll see. If I had a quick flush on the open, maybe down into here, 72 or lower. See if it starts to catch a bid and hold. Maybe you play it up to 74, something like that. Maybe if it closes at the high, it turns into a multi-day move. QNDY means secondary. It's a secondary offering. That was in BHVN. All right, so BYND is in crazy town now. So I'm still thinking like 160 is my downside target from wherever it stops. Actually looks pretty good now on the short side. We'll see what happens when it opens, but it spiked above 200 around 7 o'clock this morning. They started selling it below 200. You could get one of these where it comes down to like the low 180s. It does a spike up to this area here. We see a failure between 195 and 198, and then it starts to trend. It actually holds the pre-market downtrend from the high. So again, when people see this, there's no way of knowing where the top is going to be. It's complete crazy down now. When people remember Tilray, and I talked about it, I think yesterday or maybe over the weekend, where at 180 today it gapped up. I'm like, this is probably a pretty good short area, and it spiked $100 from there when the market opened. then went down $100, and then, you know, that was the beginning of the short, but it was still like the bounces continued to be pretty phenomenal over the next couple of weeks. We would have like a $30 down move, then it would bounce $20, and we would have 40, and then it would bounce $20. So perhaps we will see something like, you know, right on the open, it flushes into here, then it bounces like, you know, $10 to $15, settles in, and then it starts to like kind of roll. Let me see, if it closes below 180, everyone, not everyone, but people will go short it overnight, and they'll, you know, be looking for a move back down to, you know, into this area. And so will it get back down to 120, 130 in the next week? I have no idea, probably not. It's now kind of set up some higher prices where there's a lot of people long from such cheap prices. In fact, I would think 160, that's going to be my target, and I want to see what happens at 160, see if it catches a bid there. That's the one thing I remember at Tilray when it sold off from like 200 down to 140. It caught a bid and bounced back up to I thought 160 was going to be a good short. It went to like 175 and rolled over again to 140. You know, you can check out the longer term chart on it. It was just to kind of give yourself an idea. And you want to be careful. You want to, until this thing settles down over the next week, you want to really keep the size at very small levels because it's going to be moving $10, $15, $20 in a day. So you don't really have to have much size to make money in it. If you really believe in the short longer term, you can start loading up on the puts. Chewy. So Chewy, you know, it held at 33 again, which was 50% above the IPO price. It was the pullback low on day one, right on the open, and it popped here. This was a nice short on this pop, and it rolled over again. It was acting like it had a good chance to continue the downtrend. Then someone came in middle of the day and just, they bought 500,000 shares. Initially, it failed at 34, and then I wasn't around, but it went all the way back up to the morning high. It failed. It was pretty clean short. This is a good example of don't give up on it. If it gets back up to the morning high, and it's shown signs of selling the first day and the second day, short it, and maybe you walk into something. It ended up coming all the way back down to the support right here. And they had done the rug pull, remember, on day one. So I continue to think, you know, 35 by 33. And eventually, if it gets below 33, I'm going to play it for a move down to 30, 31, and then see what happens. I mean, ultimately, I think it'll get back down to $25 a share, but for the time being. So lower highs yesterday. Maybe puts in another lower high today. It's actually above 34, so it closed. Where did it close? Around 33.5. So we'll see. Use 34 as an inflection right on the open. It's holding above, maybe it pops to here, holding below. There, and then you kind of see. Pins, people were watching it yesterday because obviously the IPOs are hot. It started to show signs after pulling back from the highs a couple weeks ago. So, actually it was a while ago, right? Let's see, when was this? So initially when it came out, it ran from 24 to 34, actually a little bit higher. Failed at 30, and now it's kind of coming back into this area here. I'm not a huge believer in the stock, bigger picture. But this area here, it actually gets into this and starts holding up in here and breaks above 30, the way the market's been recently. Maybe it will go to 30, 32. It reminds me of Uber a little bit. So that's that. And then AMD and Facebook. So AMD closed really weak, but it's gapping up, so it's still, you know, you kind of have this downtrend from the last week. I still do think if this reclaims $30 and it shows a little bit of strength, it could be back up at 32 quickly. So that's my thought process there. Any type of flush into the 29 to 29.15 area, I'd be looking at buying it. What is this right here? 29.50. If it comes into the year and makes a higher low today, that was the top here. 29.50 came all the way back down before it's starting this uptrend. So have alerts at 29.50, 29.30, 29.10. And then Facebook. Yesterday we talked about they're doing this kind of crypto blockchain payment thing, and it was hard to make a call whether or not it would continue going because it's just such a large market cap compared to some of the things that get manipulated on that sort of thing. But it's having really good follow through today. And, you know, if we go back to after earnings, it was 196 by 180, actually 196, 190. So that's how I would be thinking about it today. Like, does it stay above 190? Does it have trouble into this resistance post earnings? Basically starting at 195, 195, 196. They tried to get above there a few times. Remember, really good earnings. It pulled back. It came back up, failed. Pulled back again, failed. Pulled back to the post earnings low, failed again here, and then that started a downtrend. And this was the antitrust stuff. So people will be focused on the long as it's above 190, and see if this uptrend catches up to it over the next few days. Yeah, I mean, this one, I mean, I really like this one. I know that we were focused on being long it here and caught this. I lost track of it on this pullback, but I think we talked about it the other day. As long as it kind of broke out of this pullback trend, focus long again, and we'll see. I think the buyers are in control. If we go back to when it IPO'd, it was up here. I mean, the way IPOs have been acting recently, people are going to be thinking above 22, 24, 26. Yeah, I would definitely be, focused on the long side until it sees some type of failure. Off of the lows, it did fail right here above 22. But again, different market environment over the last couple of weeks. So as always, be patient and good luck.